Okay guys, welcome to the guide that I wanted to go through quickly here. Just mainly wanted to say to you guys, because I got requested to do a little bit of a guide, I guess on the keybinds and the macros that you can use. First of all, just going to rotation, you should really be putting Vampiric Touch up first and then straight away using Shadow Word Pain. Reason why is because it's within the same global, so you can only go, you're adding almost two of them at the same time, as you can see there, and all you have to do is use a simple keybind macro like this, which is basically to use both in one button, so you don't have to spread them out too much or whatever. Although if you see over here, I also have Shadow Word Pain keybound to another key, which is Shift 1, just in case if I need to use it when I'm on the move or anything like that. Moving on to Mind Blast. Mind Blast I've actually got, see if I cast it, and if I do have 3 orbs and I want to use my Devouring Plague, it actually has a macro which will stay on for 2 seconds, I think, which I'll show you how to do it later on to enable you to use it if you want to. But I also at the same time, like before, have a keybind specifically for that, and I also have it as part of a bigger macro, which I'll go into later. Right, just one thing I wanted to point out is the keys that you feel most comfortable using. So for me, it's E and Q, sorry, because they're on either side of the WASD. Reason why is, for me, I put them as heals, and the reason why is because I think heals are very important during any fight. You need to keep yourself top all the time, and you shouldn't really be without, for example, a renew in a duel or a prayer of mending when it's up. So those there. What I've also done is Shift and E for when I want to use Shadow Word Death, so because that's important as well. And then the other one is my burst macro. Now, to go into this burst macro, I want to do this as quickly as I can so it doesn't get too complicated. I use various different things, as you can see here, together. Now, as I was saying before about resetting, whenever you want an ability, so you go type / cast sequence in one word and then reset, and then equals whatever number you want to count to before it resets. So when I use here Mind Blast, in that macro I have 2 seconds. As you can see here, cast sequence reset 2 seconds before it changes back to Mind Blast. So I use Mind Blast, then for 2 seconds I have Devouring Plague, and then it changes back to Mind Blast. Now going back to the main one, as you can see here, I've done it on the abilities as well with 10 seconds each. But what I use with this one is Tyrannical Gladiator's Badge of Dominance, which is my trinket, and I also use my engineering skill, which I have on the gloves, which increases agility, strength, or intellect by 1920. Now, the reason why I've got both of these here is because this one is locked out or on cooldown, because it has I believe 1 minute cooldown, and when it's on cooldown, I have this one to use, because 30 seconds after I use this one, the engineering one becomes available. But this one lasts for 20 seconds anyway, so it's pretty much 10 seconds before I can use this one again. So when I need to burst again, I just wait another 10 seconds before I do that. The other thing I have is Potion of the Jade Serpent. I use this sometimes in battlegrounds when I really want to be doing big damage, so I can come on top of the leaderboard. I use that when I'm bursting as well. That gives you 4,000 intellect. I wouldn't suggest using it in duels, because I think it's a little bit unfair unless you agree with your opponent that you're both going to be using them, or that he's okay or she's okay with doing that. The abilities I use is, as I said before, / cast sequence reset at 10 seconds. It's Devouring Plague, and then also Vampiric Embrace. Now, when I use this, I use these both together. This is why they're not, as we saw with this, it's not like I use Mind Blast and then I put a comma and then Devouring Plague. Instead, what I do is I use cast sequence reset at 10 seconds, Devouring Plague, and then use the same macro again for Vampiric Embrace. What this does differently is, as opposed to pressing it twice, it will actually use both of those, because they don't share the same global cooldown. It will use them together. And if I just demonstrate on here, if I use this macro here, as you can see, and it's on my bars here, if I use it straight away, I have popped, as you can see, Devouring Plague, which is gone now, and I've also got Vampiric Embrace running here for 10 seconds. So that's the macro that I use, the main one. I use a simple macro, as I said, with Fiend. When I pop Fiend, sometimes I want to add a little bit of a separate amount of pressure, let's say the beginning of a fight when I want them to use their main cooldown for defense. I'll add Tyrannical Gladiator's Badge of Dominance to Shadow Fiend to give me a little bit of extra boost to put pressure on them, as well as give your pet, obviously your pet does damage anyways, pretty decently in fact. The rest of these macros that you see here are actually for disc, when I play disc. The other one I use is, as I said before, don't share the same global cooldown. You should take advantage of these because Blizzard intend them to work together. So for example, Vampiric Embrace and Devouring Plague don't share the same global, so you can put them together and they proc. I mean, they can be, you know, used at the same time. Same with spectral guise and angelic, not angelic feathers, sorry, spectral guise and not this one actually. I'm using this one. Avoid. Same with fade and spectral guise. They don't share the same global cooldown, so use them together. When you have phantism, you can get away and stealth at the same time, so that you're not slowed and they can catch you out quickly. So that concludes my macro guide, guys. Lastly, what I wanted to go into is make sure when you are using your abilities to always do what's best for the situation. If you feel like, you know, you're taking too much damage and you need to proc your best heal, you should do that. And as a bit of a tip as well, when you're dueling as a Shadow Priest, try not to prolong the fight. If you have to, like against feral druids because they heal so much, or against elemental shamans, maybe, it's fine. You know, you got to try and heal yourself more. So you got to understand the situation. It's going to be a long fight. So put more emphasis or more concentration on healing yourself and keeping yourself alive. So one tip that I wanted to just leave on is when you are actually, let's say, taking a lot of heavy damage and you see yourself about 30% health. Let's say this target is my opponent and he was attacking me. What I would do is I'll fear him, and the first thing I would do when I fear him, oh, that guy went and killed him. The first thing I do when I fear him is, if I do here again, let's say I used the tendrils on him. The first thing I would do before I actually attack him is I would heal myself. Same thing I would do when I'm fearing, is I'll heal myself, make sure I am, you know, where I want to be in terms of health. Doesn't have to be full, but somewhere I can manage later on and not take too much damage. Then I would add my dots, because when you add your dots, or when you use your mind blast especially, there's almost a certain chance they will break out of fear. So heal first, right? Because dots are very unlikely to break them if they already have dots on them, and if they don't, then just heal first. Nothing will break them out of fear unless they can trinket, or unless they're in one of the classes that can break fear. But you know, use it as an advantage to heal yourself, keep yourself where you want to be in terms of health, then attack. Because some people, a lot of people, in fact, I've seen, is what they do is they fear, and then they will dot so they can get more damage on them, and then mind blast, and then try and heal themselves, and in which case they come back and rogues will kick you, or warriors will just charge you. So keep that in mind, and it will help you to, especially in duels, have very good survival skill. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please rate, comment, and give me your feedback. I always enjoy seeing you guys' updates on my channel, and see what comments and what feedback you guys have for me. Whatever it is, whatever you want to say it. You know, there is no point in holding back, in my opinion. If you have something that you want to share, you should share it. Not to say that everything should be shared, but you know, feedback is always good. Anyway, guys, having said that, I just want to say that there will be another video coming up soon, hopefully. I've done some tests on the PTR for priests for next patch. It's not looking too bad, but it's not exactly my cup of tea, and what they've done to the priests, because they've really kind of increased our armor, which is very good against all melee. But having, you know, so much armor, you know, because we're going to be getting nerfed in a fire for some reason. It might be a glitch though. And then having another, I believe, 60% or 50% armor increase from our shadow form, which I don't really know how it's going to play, but you know, at the moment it's not so good because you take way too much damage from mages, warlocks, which usually you'd survive against. So I think next patch, on a final note, I want to say next patch is probably going to be more about tactics and what you use to prevent damage rather than just healing through it as we have done now. Vampiric Embrace will probably still be favourable, but not as much as it is now, because as I said, it's about preventing damage, getting away from damage, and just basically line of sighting people if possible, to stop any incoming damage, as opposed to trying to eat it up or heal through it like you would do in some situations. Now it might still be the same against melee, but definitely not against spell weavers and warlocks. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching.